This is my 3rd year anniversary talking about my own income tax relief. It serves as a reminder for me how far have I come, and also as a reminder for you if you have not implemented all these tax strategies before the year ends. And the purpose of this video is really not to show off or brag how much tax relief can I get, because I think there's no point bragging. It's more like if I miss out something, maybe my audience can tell me. And the fact is that I do not know your personal situation, so my situation may not be applicable to your personal situation. So do not treat it as financial advice, just treat it as financial entertainment. But if you really have a burning question to ask, then why not join us at our over 11,000 members Telegram group at Honey Money SG, where you can crowdsource the ideas and questions, then maybe the community of experts will help guide you on some tax planning as well. Join us at Honey Money SG. The most basic income tax relief will be earned income, and almost anyone who is employed will be eligible to get this $1,000 of income tax relief. That is automatically applied. There's no need for you to do anything. As long as you're employed, you'll get that $1,000 of your chargeable income. My second income tax relief will come from the FSMOne relief, where I am back in Singapore. If you realize, for these past few weeks, I'm here to serve my in-camp training, which also means I'll receive my FSMOne relief of $3,000 per year. That is if I've completed my ICT. So for those of you who are FSMOne but you have not completed ICT this year, you will only receive $1,500. And I also believe that if you are the family member of the FSMOne, whether you are the wife or you're the parents, then you also get to enjoy some tax relief as well. So it's pretty good. My next income tax relief will come from SRS, which is the Supplementary Retirement Scheme. I contributed $15,300, which is the maximum cap that Singaporeans or PRs can contribute to SRS. And you know that previously I have invested some of my SRS via Poems Cash Plus into the S27 S&P 500 ETF. But I have stopped it since 2022, and in this year, 2023, I just poured all my SRS into the Singapore Savings Bond. Because I also want to purchase the Singapore Savings Bond, and I felt that using SRS is a more preferred option compared to using cash, because cash you can use it to invest in a lot of other things. But if you want to use SRS to invest, the options are much more limited. So I prefer to use SRS to buy the SSB. Once again, not telling you that you should do it, I just saying why I did it. Okay, next income tax relief is something new this year, which is the parents relief. I'm going to get another $9,000 off because my mom, who is living with me currently, is not working. So if your parent is not working and drawing less than $4,000 of income per year, you will be eligible to apply for this. It's kind of like an encouragement for their children to support their parents, especially if they are living together. But if you are living away from your parents and your parents is not earning an income above $4,000 per year, you will get a much lower relief at $5,500. But this is really something new to me this year in 2023. So coming next year, when I receive my NOA and prepare for my tax filing, then maybe I will see what is the real impact of this. So if you add out all my current tax relief, which is non-CPF related, it will be $1,000 from earned income, $3,000 from FSMOne, $15,300 from SRS, and $9,000 from parents relief, which is a total of $28,300 of non-CPF tax relief. But I believe that all these tax relief are pretty standard. What you want to see is the CPF related tax relief, right? And I'll come back to this after a word from the sponsor. If you can only afford 100 Singapore dollars every month to invest, chances are you cannot even afford to buy one share of your favorite US stock like Apple or Microsoft. But today, I will share with you how you can invest smarter with Momo SG. Because with Momo fractional trading, you can own any top traded US stocks from just $5 US. The minimum order size for fractional trading is 0.001 shares, or a minimum buy order amount of $5 US. And that means with just $100 US, you may purchase 0.55 fractional shares of Apple at $180 US a share. With a lower starting capital, fractional shares make it easier to build a more diversified portfolio, making it more accessible to individual investors. If you're a new customer, you can receive a starter kit up to 680 Singapore dollars, comprising of cash coupons, stock slice bundle, and 30 days guaranteed returns of 5.8% per annum on Momo Cash Plus. The stock slice bundle consists of 5 fractional shares, including Nvidia, Tesla, Apple, C Limited, and NIO. For those who deposit 3,000 Singapore dollars and perform 3 buy trades, you'll be able to unlock one stock bundle worth about 70 Singapore dollars. And if you're willing to deposit 10,000 Singapore dollars and perform up to 8 buy trades, you will unlock additional 3 times stock bundle worth 210 Singapore dollars. So wait no more, use my referral link down below or scan this QR code right here to get your Momo SG Universal account today. Alright, let's cover the CPF tax relief in detail right now because there are a few different layers. I'll start with the mandatory contributions. And for this year, 2023, CPF annual limit of $102,000 annual income. 20% of that $102,000 will be $20,400 of mandatory CPF relief. Maybe I'll cover more details about this number because some of you, this is the first time that you may be filing tax. Now, CPF has an annual limit of $102,000. What that means is that there is $72,000 of ordinary wage limit and $30,000 in the additional wage limit. But I think that this was the prior ordinary wage and additional wage limit before they increased the CPF cap to $6,300. And the reason they want to cap this CPF annual limit is because they don't want employers or yourself to overpay on the CPF. So they set a limit of $102,000 per annum, which also means that above $102,000 of annual income, it will not attract any more CPF contributions, whether from you or your employer. Then next year, I think the CPF salary cap is raised to $6,800, so that's another new calculation again. But for simplicity's sake, let's just take my CPF annual salary limit of $102,000 multiplied by the 20%, which is my own contribution. So $20,400 will be the tax relief applicable to me. So we covered about the mandatory contributions. How about the voluntary contributions? Because that's another thing. For this year, I did around $7,500 of voluntary contributions to my MA. And it can be broken down to the following. Starting from $2,500 of the BHS increase in the MediSave account from $66,000 to $68,500 this year in 1st January. So every year in 1st January, the BHS cap will be raised. So last year it was $66,000, this year is $68,500, which means a $2,500 of gap that you can voluntarily contribute to your MediSave. And that is eligible for tax relief as well. So that's $2,500. Then along the year, I did have some deductions for my CareShield Life and my Integrated Shield plan. So all this sum up to around $1,000. So that would be $1,000 in VCMA as well. Then lastly, I had $4,000 of outstanding MediSave contributions for my self-employed income last year, which I have to pay this year. So that is $4,000. In total, $2,500 plus that $1,000 plus that $4,000, total $7,500 of VCMA that I did, which I think is just nice, around the $8,000 of VCMA cap every year. Because if you don't know, there's a CPF top-up cap of $8,000 per year, which can be spread between your voluntary contribution to MediSave account, VCMA, or retirement sum top-up to special account, RSTU. So my RSTU cannot be done anymore because my special account is at the FRS already. So you notice these few years, I rarely talk about RSTU anymore once the FRS has been reached by the special account. Let's talk about the voluntary contributions to 3 accounts. How is that even applicable? Because that's more for self-employed persons. And starting this year, I don't think I'm considered a self-employed person anymore since I'm already employed by my own company. And also the fact that I hit the CPF annual salary limit of $102,000. So once you've hit the $102,000 annual income, it's already at the cap. So there's no more way that you can put in more money voluntarily and qualify as tax relief as a self-employed person. So VC38 will not apply if your CPF annual salary is already $102,000. So my total CPF tax relief will be $20,400 from the mandatory contribution plus $7,500 from the voluntary contribution to MediSave, adding up to a total of $27,900. Overall combined tax relief for 2023, that will be $28,300 plus $27,900 equals to $56,200 of combined tax relief. Now, after summing up all this tax relief, some of you may still not get the idea how much is it going to impact me in terms of tax savings. So let's assume that I earn $120,000 gross income for the year of 2023. And if I were to take away $56,200 from my $120,000 gross salary, I will be at the 7% income tax tier because $120,000 gross income minus $56,200 will place me at the $63,800 chargeable income, which also means that effective tax based on the IRAS tax table will be $550 plus 7% multiplied by $63,800 minus $40,000, and that comes up to a total of $2,216. Hence, the effective tax rate will be $2,216 divided by $120,000 of income, which is 1.85%. That's a fairly low effective tax rate, right? So for those of you who always complain that your income tax is too high, maybe it's a happy problem to have. And the fact that you're not employing enough tax relief strategies to help in your tax planning. So maybe this video will help you identify where else can you put money to reduce your taxes, and I hope that it has been of help to you. But you see, sometimes the problem is not about income tax, but more about how to earn even more income. And that's where I can introduce to you my side hustle video, where it can give you some ideas to generate as a self-employed person to add on to your income sources.